Val asked me to come and talk from a local authority. It sounds really boring, doesn't this? A local authority social services department, how we're discovering intergenerational work. And I think really what I want to get across are some of those really important principles that underpin it, that are really challenging the culture of social services and the way we look at older people, and also the working children and families services. What we've found in Swansea is we've got to shift the way we look at older people, the way we look at our staff as well. Sometimes we beat up our staff to deliver targets and performance indicators rather than and looking at valuing and nurturing the strengths that they have. And it's a model called appreciative inquiry, which I won't go into details, but it's instead of looking at what's going wrong with people and organisations, you start to look at what's going right and what strengths they've got. Now, there's one guy I would definitely point to, and he came to Swansea, and he's an American guy, and he's called Edgar Kahn. He was fantastic, and he's a founder of a thing called time banking. Do people know about time banking? Yeah, a wonderful scheme where everybody, he believes, has got something to contribute. And I would read this quote because this to me is at the heart of intergenerational work, and also the biggest lesson that social services has to learn. The world of helping others in need is now built around one-way transactions. Government entitlements are based on need. Charity is based on need. Volunteering is based on need. We mean well, and all too often, these efforts are to be honoured. Too often, helping is a transaction that starts between two strangers who remain strangers. And with the best of intentions, one-way transactions often send two messages unintentionally. They say, we have something you need, but you've got nothing we need or want or value. And they also say, the way to get more help is by coming back with more problems. And he really challenges in social services, because again, he gave this lovely example. He said it was an old lady he'd spoken to in a care home who said, I've got nothing left to give except love. And he said, isn't that the most important thing that we've got to give each other, really? And he also talked about a lovely example with his time banking. It's basically, if you do an hour of volunteering that actually benefits other people, you can log that as a credit, and then you pool it and you can sort of swap credits, a bit like a bartering system. And he said a classic example would be a lady in a nursing home who can't get out, but she can knit squares that go off to Oxfam to go to Africa. She gets a credit for an hour's knitting. She can use that then for a young person who might do an hour's shopping for her, because it's all about building community, which is what Val was talking about. One of our heroes in Swansea is Mike Nolan. He's a professor of nursing in Sheffield. And he says this: there's a need to replace an individualistic view of autonomy with one based on interconnectedness and partnership that recognises the uniqueness of each individual, but also the interdependence that shapes our lives. And this lovely quote, we should not be talking about quality of life, but rather quality of lives. And what Mike's told us is that it's the interdependent well-being of older people in a community. It could be older people, young, but in our setting in social service, it's your frontline staff, it's your family carers, and your older people. And you need to look at all three of those groups to get a system that works well. So again, I think, some of this work is lovely, that interdependent relationship that you can get between young and old. We've got a researcher called Neil Thomas, who's from Cardiff, but he lives in Swansea. And then there are only 4 sites for this little project. One's Swansea, one's Oxford, Leeds and Dorset. He's been going around just picking up people's stories. And the one story I've got for you here is about Miriam and Viv. And I think it's nice just to contrast to the Whitland story, because this is about what older people can give to young people, which is really lovely, I think. And Miriam, you see, is a young single mum with all the sort of pain and trauma that goes around that, and relationship problems, whatever. And her best friend is a 91-year-old lady who lives in the streets. So if you read about this, but I'll read the last 2 paragraphs because I think this sums it up for me. I am young and she is old, and I suppose on the surface it looks like I'm the one doing all the giving, because obviously she does a bit of shopping and she helps shower this person. But she says that's not the case at all. I don't think she will ever understand how much she gives back in return. I have learnt so much, like what it's like to be an aging woman, what matters when you're that age, and what things am I wasting my time on. I can remember asking her what she felt like when she looked in the mirror and what she thought of her old skin. It has been one of the most interesting relationships I have ever had. I have asked her if she's afraid of dying, how she coped with her son growing up and being so far away, her husband dying, his last moments, how she coped, how she felt, how she survived. She has taught me how to enjoy the simple pleasures in life, like watching a rose grow and enjoying its scent, how to observe and enjoy the changes of the seasons, what different foods are good through the year. There are about a gazillion little things she has taught me that no person any younger could have done. And I'm extremely grateful for the opportunity to have a 91-year-old as my best friend. I think that's fantastic, isn't it? What a fantastic story. So that's why I really think we're really keen to support this sort of work with Val. Thank you.